Oh, good morning. Are you also so early? You know, I love to come to the cafe long before opening. At this hour, everything seems somehow special. The city is just waking up. The sky is slowly getting lighter, and the first rays of the sun paint the clouds in a delicate pink. In such moments, it seems as if the whole world has frozen in anticipation of something wonderful. I usually prepare everything for opening in advance, and then I have time to just observe, watch how the city gradually comes to life, how the windows light up in the houses opposite, how the light changes. Look, see that man with the briefcase? He passes by our cafe every morning exactly at 6:45, always in a perfectly ironed suit, always with this old-fashioned brown briefcase. I wonder who he is. Maybe a professor rushing to an early lecture, or a lover who likes to prepare for cases in the morning silence. And this girl with a red hat, she appeared recently, always stops at the tea and writes something in the small notebook. Maybe she's a writer or an artist who is looking for inspiration in the morning city. Oh, and here comes our log of curious. That's what I call a group of office workers who are always late. They run past the cafe, trying scarf and finishing coffee from cardboard cups on the go. And here is my favorite character of the morning city, an elderly lady with a small dog. She never hurries. Every morning she walks in her elegant coat, greets everyone she meets. Perhaps she is one of those people who remember this area still quite different. You know what is the most interesting in morning observations? How differently people meet the day. Look, a young couple at the bus stop. He is clearly an early bird. Cheerful smiles tell something, and she, it seems, is still somewhere in her dreams, just nodding in response. Oh, and here is our mystery, a man in a blue coat. Every morning he passes by with a huge cello case. But one day, I saw how he was carrying it in his other hand, and the case was too light for a cello. I wonder what he is actually carrying there. You know, I sometimes imagine how the stories of these people intertwine. Maybe that girl with a notebook is writing a novel about the professor with a brown briefcase, or the elderly lady with the dog knows all the secrets of the man with the case. Look, the second wave has begun. Mothers with children are going to school. I love watching them. This little girl in a red hat pretends every morning that her backpack is a rocket, and her mother, she always pretends to be in a hurry, but at the same time, she certainly plays along with her daughter. And you know what is surprising? Every morning is so different, but at the same time so similar, like pages of one book. It seems to be the same plot, the same characters, but every time the story unfolds in a new way. Would you like me to tell you about my favorite morning story? Last month, I noticed one special story. Every morning, an elderly man stopped at the newspaper kiosk opposite. He bought a newspaper and sat down on a bench. Always the same one. And every day he left half of his sandwich on the bench. At first, I didn't understand why. And then I saw a small bird flew in, always the same one. And you know what? They seemed to have become friends. He read the newspaper. She packed the sandwich and then just sat nearby as if were keeping each other company. One day he didn't come. The bird waited for him for a whole week, and then I saw a small obituary in the local newspaper. And you know, that morning an elderly woman appeared on the bench. His wife, she bought half a sandwich, and the bird flew in again. Now, every morning, this woman comes to the same bench, and I think maybe all these small morning rituals, they're actually much more important than it seems. And here is my favorite young ballerina. Every morning she passes by us, still quiet, a girl with a large bag over her shoulder, always so serious, focused, but sometimes when she thinks no one is watching, she does a few dance steps right in the middle of the street. And there is another special story. For a month now, I have been watching a young man who every morning leaves one flower in a vase at the entrance to the neighboring shop. Inside walks a girl. She comes later and always pretends that she doesn't know where these flowers come from. But one day I saw how she smiled finding them, and sometimes completely amazing things happened. Last week, two women who didn't know each other stopped to help a schoolboy whose textbooks had spilled. And you know what? It turned out they had been in the same class many years ago. Now they meet here every morning to have coffee together before work. And you know, I had one case for almost half year. I watched one artist every morning. He came with an easel, set it up opposite the cafe, and made sketches in the rain, in the snow. He was always there. I kept wondering what is so special that he sees in our ordinary state. And then one day he came in all that morning. There was heavy rain. He ordered hot tea, and you know what it turned out to be? He was drawing time. Yes, exact time. Now the light changes on the facades of the houses, how the street is transformed, and different hours in different seasons. He even gave me one of his sketches. Our cafe is done. And you know what is the most amazing? In the drawing, there is a silhouette in the window, a girl who is looking at the street. It turns out he was always watching me all this time, and quite recently I began to notice one strange detail. An elderly man in a great coat every morning stops at the old house opposite. He takes out a key from his pocket, goes to the door, but never opens it. He just stands there for a few minutes and leaves. Last Wednesday, he came to us for the first time. He ordered coffee and we started talking. It turned out at that house there used to be his bookstore. There he met his wife. She was looking for a rare edition of Shakespeare. Now the house is about to be demolished, and he comes to say goodbye to the place where his love story began. Since then, every morning I leave a cup of coffee and an old book for him. We have a whole shelf with such ones here. He reads, sometimes makes notes in the margins, as if he continues the story of his bookstore here with us. We also have one mysterious guest, a young man always with headphones. Every morning dances at the bus stop, quite lightly, barely noticeably. He sways to the music that only he hears. People pass by, some smile, some roam. One day his bus was late and he came in to warm up. You know what is turned out to be? He's a choreographer creating dance numbers for children. And in the mornings, he rehearses new movements, such ones that will be easier for his students to repeat. Now, I often notice how random exercise begin to involuntarily move to the beat of his dance. And sometimes he doesn't come alone. On such days, a small group gathers at the bus stop. His students, and then the bus stop turns into a real dance floor. Imagine how the faces of gloomy passers change when they see how these children joyfully dance. The sun is rising high and high. Soon the coffee rush hour will begin when people run in for the morning dose of energy before work. The streets will be filled with the noise of cars, ringing phones, hard steps. But you know what I love most of? To observe how some people manage to maintain those small moments of peace, even in this morning hustle. Here, for example, the, the artist, she always stops at the window of the flower shop. She just stands there for a minute, admiring the bouquets, and then she smiles and go on as if she has taken a piece of beauty with her. Oh, do you hear? The bell is ringing in the bakery opposite. So it will soon be time for us to open too. But sometimes I think maybe all these people rushing about the business are also watching us, inventing their own stories about a girl who stands at the cafe window every morning and dimly looks at the passersby. Soon Mia will come. I wonder, does she notice all these little stories when she returns after her night shifts, as if we are passing the baton to each other? She keeps the secrets of the night city, and I of the morning one. You know, every morning I make a wish. What if something unusual happens today? What if the professor with a briefcase suddenly comes in to have coffee with us, or the girl with a notebook decides to write your story at our table. After all, that's the magic of ordinary days. You never know what story will begin with one simple morning. And for now, for now, I will keep these morning secrets, and maybe someday I will tell you new stories about people hurrying along the morning streets.